Okay, good afternoon, class. So today we're looking at exercise 2.7 from the chapter on equations and inequalities. Because this is normally a topic that learners have problems with the section of this work, so we're going to do everything. Okay. So the first one, let's start then with number 1. Number 1 says, this is exercise 2.7. Okay. So here number 1 we are told, just make it a bit smaller as well. In number 1 we are told that show that each of the rectangle has the same perimeter. So let's go number 1. Number 1 perimeter is going to be 2 length plus 2 breadth. Not so, just stop here, we're not going too fast. Okay. 2 length plus 2 breadth, so it's simply going to be 2 times 70 plus 2 times 30. Which gives me an area, a perimeter of 140 plus 60, which is 200. You all agree with that? 200 meters. If I look at number 2, there's 8. Number 2, the perimeter is going to be 60, 2 times 60 plus 2 times 40. 2 times 6 is 120 plus 2 times 40 is 80, which is again 200. Not so. And then of course the third one is going to be this one here is now number 3, of course. The perimeter is going to be 2 times 90 plus 2 times 10, which is simply going to give you 180 plus 20, which is 200 meters again. So what do you notice is that the perimeter is the same for all three pieces. You guys understand? Alright, now let's look at A was in the red, let's go with B. Calculate the area of each rectangle. So the area is going to be length times breadth. So it's going to be, this is now number 1. The length of course is going to be 70 times 30, which is 2100 meters squared. So it's 2100 meters squared. So if you look at the second one, so the area is going to be length times breadth, which is 40 times 60. 2004. What do you notice? Although the perimeter was the same, the area differs. You see that? And the same story here. So the area is going to be length times breadth, which is 90 multiplied by 10, which is 900. It has even this. Okay? So not every perimeter, if not every rectangle has the same perimeter has the same area. Okay? That makes sense, no? Let's look at number C. A rectangle has a fixed perimeter of 200. Let the width of the rectangle be x. Okay, so I'm going to take this off because of course I need the space. Okay? I would like to keep this in focus. Whoops. Okay, that's again that time of the day where the alignment is out. Alright. So looking at C now. C says, so we got the rectangle now. The perimeter is 200 as we had before. Let the width of the rectangle be x. The width is the same as the breadth. And y, determine y in terms of x. Let the width of the rectangle be y. They have to say let the length of the rectangle. Because the width is y, I'm assuming that the length is, sorry, since the width is x, I'm assuming that they're letting the length be y. You understand? So there's your y. Now they want determine y in terms of x. So if this is a rectangle, what is this length? X, and this is y. So in other words, 2x plus 2y is going to be a perimeter, not so. But what is perimeter? 200. So it's 2x plus 2y is equal to 200. Or you could have started off by saying perimeter is going to be 2 length plus 2 breadth. It's the same thing. No? So it's going to simply be, I'm going to make y the subject of the formula, take that over. So 2y is equal to 200 minus 2x. So what do I do? Divided by 2. So y is equal to 100 minus x. So that's the answer to C1. Okay, yes? Yes, we always make y the subject of the formula because we always want to work with one unknown. Okay. You can complete the square if there's an x or a z or an a in, but we are used to having an x there. You understand? But let's look at number 2. Show that the area is given by. So how do you calculate the area of a rectangle? Area is equal to length times breadth. What's the length of this rectangle? It must y. And what is y? 100 minus x. So it's going to be 100 minus x times the breadth, which is x. So I'm going to multiply that story out. It's going to be negative x squared plus 100x. And that is what they wanted you to show there. Can you see that? You all with me? Am I moving too fast? No. Right, number 3. Find the dimensions. People, what is dimensions? The length. Not so. The dimensions of the rectangle that has the largest area. Can you see how to calculate area? Length times breadth. So this is the area in terms of x. The algebraic expression for the area in terms of x. Determine the maximum possible area. So here they also need to calculate the area and the dimensions if the perimeter is 200. Okay? So what I do now is, I say, okay. Remember, this is now a quadratic here. Not so. So what I'm going to do is, because this is negative, so this actually models a parabola or a maximum value. Not so. It has a maximum value. So, and what's the question here? Determine the maximum possible area. You see, this had to model a positive and a minimum value. Then what will the question be? Give the minimum length that is needed to make the whatever. You understand? So, if this is negative, the question would be maximum. If this is minimum or negative, the question would have read minimum. You understand? So you should do the model, what this thing actually models me. You understand? They can't give you, if that is negative, and they ask you for the minimum. No. It has to be positive and ask you for a minimum, or negative and ask you for a maximum. Does it make sense? Okay, but more about this when we do calculus next year. So, what happens is, I'm going to complete the square. So it's 1, 2. Number 3. So it's going to be area is equal to. So what do we do first? We take out negative as a common factor. What are we left with? X squared minus 100x. Okay. So we carry on. We say, okay, there's a number that must be added to complete the square with. Not so. So it's going to be x squared minus 100x plus a number minus that same number. And what's the number in this case? It's going to be b times a half, which is 100 times a half, which is 50, and it must be squared, which is 2,500. Not so. So what is this now to us? Perfect square trinomial. So that is simply negative into x minus 50 squared minus 2,500. Okay. Now what? So this should be, multiply the negative in. So it's negative into x minus 50 squared plus 2,000. Have you answered the question? Have you answered the question? No. What's the question? The question says find the dimensions. So what is the length? What's the length? The length is going to be 100 minus x, not so?
Yes, sir.
So what is the x value here? The breadth is going to be? What was the breadth? Okay, now I think you see you guys are confused there. Okay, if we drew this graph here, what would the coordinates of that point be? Would be 50 and 2,500. Not so? So this, if I put this in the story, this would have a maximum value of 2,500. And occurs at an x value of 50. So what does x represent in this case? What does x represent? X is the width. Not so? So I'm going to say then my width is going to be x, not so, which is 50 meters. Okay? And the length is going to be 100 minus 50. So 100 minus 50 give me an answer of 50 meters. The question says determine the rectangle has the largest area. Okay, and then the question says determine. So you find the dimensions for the rectangle that has the largest area. And determine the maximum possible area. So the area is going to be what? Length times length. 50 times 50, which is the same as 2,500. Is 2,500 meters. Okay? You guys understand? So now line the board quickly. Think about, is there any confusion? What is confusing you here? I feel like I'm talking too much. Okay. I think we must carry on and then you can see where the issues are. No? So your issue is sorted out there now, in number 1. Who asked number 1? You understand now? Now with what we just did, with that idea in mind, the question says the width of a rectangle is x. So we draw a rectangle. The width of the rectangle is x. Okay? And the length, so this is the same as the breadth, no? The length is 20 minus x. Calculate the dimensions. What's the dimensions? Sizes. Calculate the dimensions if the area of the rectangle is the maximum. How do we calculate area? Area is equal to length times breadth. Not so? So we go. What is the length? 20 minus x times the breadth. So again I multiply to get rid of the brackets. So that's going to be x times negative x squared, plus 20. So what is this to us? It's your algebraic expression for the area of this rectangle. You guys see that? So if x is 20, then it's going to be 20 squared. No, it can't be 20 because then I will have 0. You say x is 50, then it's going to be 50 squared, which is 2,500 in the negative, and 20 times 50, which is 1,000. So that's what's not going to work. Okay. But whatever values I choose, maybe 3. You can't be any value, no, because of the parameters of this graph. So that is now below the x-axis. That's why the answers are negative. What if it's 1? If x is 1, then that is going to be, oh I see, it's going to be 20. The number I was choosing can't be, I chose 20, so it was 0 here, then I chose 50, which is a negative length, which is also not going to work. Can you see what the problem was? Yes. So say for instance, x can be 1 there, no? It's going to be a very elongated rectangle, but 1 squared is negative 1 plus 20, so this would have been an area of 90. If I go on with 2, then it would have been 2 squared, which is 4 in the negative. And 20 times 2 is 14. 40 minus 4 is 36. And so on. I could have just chosen values and so on. But again, this is the algebraic expression for this area of the rectangle. Read the question again. It says calculate the dimensions, which is the length, if the area of the rectangle is the maximum. This is the area. So what do I do with that? What do I do with this? Complete the square. Not so. So it's going to be a is equal to, take out negative as a common factor, I'm left with x squared minus 20x. Okay. So what I do now is, I must add a number to complete the square with. There's negative over brackets, x squared minus 20x, plus a number minus that same number. And what's the number in this case? 20 times a half, which is 10. And 10 squared is 100. What is this to us? Perfect square triangle. So it's negative into, it's negative into x minus 10 squared minus 100. So what do I do now? Get rid of the brackets, multiply in. So it's going to be negative into x minus 10 squared plus. If I must write a story for this, what would it be? This graph is negative, no? So it will be frowning. So this graph has a maximum value. Now this value is actually area. So this graph will have a maximum area of 100 and occurs at x is equal to 10. So you see x equal to 10, which is the breadth, and the length of 20 minus 10, which is 10.
So was it like that?
Yeah, because what's the question? The question is calculate the dimensions. This is the dimensions. Your breadth is 10 and your length is 10. Did I ask you for the area? No. So did I have to say the story of the area here? You don't have to say. Okay, but this is what they were looking for. And this is not meters, sorry, it's actually units, because they will know units was given there. Okay, so you're actually supposed to have said units squared. Okay. Not 100% clear yet. Yeah, it's clear. Alright, so let's do number 3. You must understand, it's coming in your exam. It's your opportunity now to get full marks, make me proud. Alright. People, the perimeter of the rectangle is 400 centimeters. So what do I do first? Draw, yes? A rectangle, nice. That's where we stop. We draw a rectangle. The perimeter of the rectangle is 400 centimeters. How do you calculate the perimeter? 2 length plus 2 breadth. So in other words, 2 length plus 2 breadth is 400. Okay, just keep that in mind. Calculate the dimensions for which it has a maximum area. This is perimeter. How do you calculate area? Area is going to be length times breadth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a length and a breadth in terms of the same variable. Why? So that if we're working with one variable, we can complete the square. You guys understand? So where do we start? Where do we start? We say let the breadth be x. So if this is x, what will this be? X. And this will be your length or your y. Not so. So what will the perimeter be? 2x plus 2y, which is L in this case, is equal to 400. As I. So I'm going to make L the subject of the formula. I'm going to have L in terms of x. No? You take it over the equal sign. So it's going to be 2L is equal to 400 minus 2x divided by 2. So L is 200 minus x. Okay. Now what? Now we say the area is going to be length times breadth. What is my length? 200 minus x. What's my breadth?
Noah Hendricks, can please report to the office? Noah Hendricks.
So now we get rid of the brackets.
Please bring your wife to the office.
Okay. What is x times negative x? Negative x squared. What's x times 200? 200x. Okay, so you see it has a maximum value. Okay. Now we're going to do what am I going to do now? We're going to complete the square. So where do we start? Take out the negative. We always want the 1 in front of x squared. So it's negative into x squared minus 200x. So what do we have? Negative into x minus 200x plus a number minus that same number. What's the number in this case? It's going to be 200 times half, which is 100, squared, which is 10,000. What is this? Perfect square? Trinomial. So it's going to be negative into x minus 100 squared minus 10,000. Get rid of the outer bracket. So I'm getting left with negative into x minus 100 squared plus 10,000. Okay. If I'm asked to write the story on this, what would it be? This graph is negative, so it has a. What's the coordinates of that maximum? 100 and 10,000. Not so. So what is that? Maximum. What value is this? Maximum area of 10,000. And occurs at x is equal to 100. And the length, what's the length? The length was 200 minus x, not so. So it's 200 minus 100, which is 100 centimeters. The area, this is centimeters squared. But what did they want? They wanted the dimensions, so that is what they're looking for. Okay. So another one. It's easy, man. Here, number 4, we are told a cattle farmer plans to fence a rectangular pasture next to a river. Would you now put a fence by the river? That's the question. Huh? Why not? If you're going to build a rectangular fence by the river, would we put a
Mrs.
fence here?
Hendricks, can you please report to the office? Parents of Azra Bakir. Mrs. Hendricks, can you please report to the office?
Okay. Why wouldn't we put a fence here? Because we want the cattle to drink. Not so. So when we're going to put fence here, we're going to have that breadth, the breadth and the length here. Okay. Otherwise, what's the use putting it by the river then? Okay. Unless it's now almost no river and the cattle will walk away. No? But we assume now it's a strong current and the cattle won't cross and all of that sort of thing. Okay. So of course by the river, we won't then put a fence. Okay. Let's read again. So we are told now that a farmer plans to fence a rectangular pasture next to the river. The length around the river is not fenced. Okay, as it's stated there. The farmer has 1,200 meters of fencing. So what does that tell us? What is that 1,200? Perimeter. So that plus that plus that is 1,200. Perimeter is 1,200 meters. And he wants to make a fence along as large as possible. So what does as large as possible mean? Maximum. Not so. To provide a maximum grazing for his herd. Let y be the length and x be the width. So show that the area of the pasture or pasture is given by that formula. Area is equal to. Do you see a y here? No. So what does that mean? I must have y in terms of x. So what do I say? It's perimeter, no? So how do you calculate the perimeter? It's 2 length. So it's 2y plus 2 breadth, which is x is equal to 1,200. So now I divide by 2. So y plus x is equal to 600. Not so? Make y the subject of the formula. Y is equal to 600 minus x. But have I answered the question? No. What is the question? Show that the area. How do you calculate area? Length times breadth. What's the length on this piece? 60 minus x. Times the breadth? Which is? Huh? 600 minus. Times. Oh no, I made a mistake. What's my mistake? There's only one y. You see, I took the y twice into account. No? There's my mistake. Should only be one y. Sorry about that. There's actually y plus. There's y plus x, which is 2x, is equal to 1,200. So y is equal to 1,200 minus. There we go. Now he's going to. So I'm thinking, how is he going to get the 2x squared there? Okay. So it's going to be 1,200 minus 2x multiplied.
Noah Hendricks, can you please report to the office? Noah Hendricks.
Okay, so what do we get? Negative 2x squared plus 1,200. Okay, have we answered the question? What's the question? You show that the area is written as that. Is that not the same? Yes, it's the same. You just swapped it around, no? But that is acceptable. Let's go with B in blue. B says, calculate the dimensions. What's dimensions? Sizes of, or the length of the rectangle. So that the enclosed area is a maximum. And determine the maximum area. So, if this models the area is then equal to negative 2x squared plus 1,200. So what am I going to do here? Take out negative 2 as a common factor. Why am I doing that? Because why I want to complete the square. Okay. I know x is also common. But I'm not worried about it. I'm just worried about x squared, the coefficient of x squared being 1. Did you see that, people? So what do we say now? We've got negative 2 into x squared minus 600x plus a number minus that same number. And what is the number in this case? So half times 600, which is 300. Not so. 300 squared is 90,000. Okay, just check there. Yeah, see, you can reach for your calculator. Nice. So what do I got? Negative 2 into. Huh? 90,000. What did I say? Huh? 90,000. I did say. Okay. So it's going to be x minus 300 squared minus 90,000. Okay. So what do I do now? Get rid of the bracket and multiply it out. So what do I have? Negative 2 into x minus 300 squared plus 90,000. Okay. Well, negative 2. So it's 184. I just want to get that one, sorry. 180,000. So that shouldn't get stuck wrong, no? No, Miss Bailey? Yeah. But you guys can get it wrong, no? Alright. People, the story here, what will it be? What will the coordinates of this point be? 300 and 180,000. Not so. So if we write the story, what will it be? It will have a maximum area, because I was talking about area. Maximum area of 180,000 meters squared. And occurs at x is equal to 300 and a length of 1,200 minus 2 times 300. Okay? So it's 1,200 minus 2 times 300 gives you 600. Is that correct? Let's check the answer here. There's 600. Okay? Any confusion here? Right, last one. Number 5. Number 5, we are told the diagram that follows represent a rectangular picture. So the picture is P, Q, R is surrounded by a frame 3 centimeters in width. So these 3 centimeters right around. The perimeter of the frame along the outer edge is 70. The perimeter of the frame along the outer edge is 70. So I will assume this is 70. That's the outer edge, no? That is 70. So the perimeter is 17 centimeters. The length of the frame can be X and the width can be Y, as marked here. The question says, write Y in terms of X. Write Y in terms of X. So where do I say? I now say that 2y plus 2x equal to 70. So I'm going to make y the subject of the formula, so I take it over. So 2y is equal to 70 minus 2x. Divided by 2 is going to be 35 minus. You see that, people? Right. It is a P. Right? P, Q and R is in terms of x. So PQ, which is this length here. Okay. But we know that this length is what? X. Not so. What is this length? This length here? 3. And this length? 3. So if this whole length is X, okay, and I'm taking 3 off from here and 3 off from here, how much am I taking off in total? 6. So then what is this length in terms of X? X minus 6. You see that, people? Let's do it again. We understand? Don't understand. Remember, they want P, Q in terms of X. Okay. Now you see this length here. What is that length from there to there? It's X. Can you see that? That was given as X. But this is 3 and that is 3. So must take 3 off from there and 3 off from there. You see that? So if X was 20 and I took 3 off there, 3 off there, then what is this? 14. How do you get 14? 20 minus that length. If this was 5, no, not 5, 15, and this is 3 and that is 3, then what is this length? 9. How do I get that? It's going to be this big length minus that sum of those lengths. No? So what is this length? X. And what is this? 6. So what is PQ? X minus 6. You see that? So PQ is going to be X minus 6. Then QR. Or PS. PS is the same as QR, no? Let's take this off. So that is what they want. So what is the length from there to there? 3. And from there to there? 3. What is the length from there to there? 35 minus X. Not so. So what would PS be? PS is equal to 35 minus X minus 6. Which is going to be? What is 35 minus 6? Huh? 29 minus X. Alright, you guys understand? Right, so I've answered that question for them. So now it's going to fold that in here. So your PQ is X minus 6. And this is going to be 29 minus X. Okay. Let's go to C. C says, show that the area of the picture. What is the picture? This is the picture. PQR is. That's the picture. How do you calculate area? Area is equal to length times width. So what's my length here?
29 minus
29 minus x. And the breadth?
x.
X minus 6. Or vice versa, the other way around as well. Okay, it could have been x minus 6 multiplied by 29 minus x. Okay. Multiply the story out, I get then 29x. Now 29 times negative 6. 29 multiplied by negative 6 gives us negative 174. Okay. 174. Now negative x times x is negative x squared. Negative x times negative 6 is positive 6x. Right, descending powers of x is negative x squared minus plus 35x. That's null items. Minus 170. And that's the question. The question says show that the area of the picture is defined by that. And they just did it. Can you see it?
So when they say you have to prove it.
You must prove it here. You can't use that in what they ask you. You understand? And then this is determine the value for x that gives a maximum area. So what am I going to do here? Complete the square. So let's go. Where do we start? Take out negative as a common factor. I always want the 1 in front of x squared. So it's x squared minus 35x plus 174. Is that okay? So it's going to be negative into x squared minus 35x plus a number minus that same number plus 174. What's the number in this case? It's 35 over 2. 35 times half, so it's 35 over 2. And it must be squared. You check on the calculator, what is 35 over 2 squared? 1225 over 4. So there's my perfect square trinomial, not so? Everyone okay with that? So that would simply be negative into x minus 35 over 2, and it must be squared. Then on our calculator we say negative fraction 1225 over 4 plus 174. This is an answer of negative 529 over 4. So what do I do now? Multiply the negative in, so it's negative into x minus 35 over 2 squared plus 529 over. So if I must write a story with regards to this, what would I write? I would say that this graph has a maximum, so that graph is crowning. Né? What will the coordinates of this point be? 35 over 2 and 529 over. So I would say this graph has a maximum area of 529 over 4. Normally we change that to proper, to decimal. So it's 132,25. 132,25. Because they're talking about centimeters, no? Yeah, centimeters. So it will be centimeters squared and occurs at an x value of 35 over 2, which is 17 and a half, I think. 35 over 2. Let's check the answer, people. 35 over 2. Okay. 35 over 2. $17.5 centimeters and a length of, so what was the length? The length, the x value. Now just remember that, what do we know about this breadth? The breadth was x minus 6, not so? And the length was 29 minus x. Okay, so then that means to say your breadth would be 17.5 minus 6, which is 11,5 centimeters, and this is 29 minus not 6. What's your x value? 17.5. What's 29 minus 17.5? Work it out. Let me just check these answers for you. Sorry? 11. Also 11,5. Come on. Okay, the area is a square. Okay. Let's just check if my answer is right there. Yeah, x is 17.5. So the question was determine the value of x. What am I actually doing here? I'm working out the dimensions of the picture, and that wasn't asked. The question was to determine the value of x that gives the maximum area of the picture. So what they are looking for is they're looking for that answer of 17,5. Okay. Do you guys understand? So that basically brings us to the end of this year.